Hello and welcome to the Premier League Final Whistle show on Anfield Index. Unfortunately, there's just me today. Obviously, we normally do these shows with Nina, but there is no Nina today, just me. So we've still got plenty to talk about, though. From Liverpool moving one step closer to the Premier League title with a win over Leicester, forcing them into relegation as well, which is obviously a key point to touch on. And obviously, Man United's woes continue and so much more. So yeah, we'll talk about all that in today's show. But obviously, there's only one place to start, and that is Liverpool's win over Leicester 1-0. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold comes off the bench to grab the 3 points. I know I tweeted earlier. It was only ever going to be him as soon as he comes on the pitch. So yeah, just let me know how you guys kind of feel about it. Obviously, about Trent scoring as well. There was some boos when he came on the pitch. I'm not sure what section of the crowd was booing him. I'm assuming it's Liverpool fans, and obviously there was some singing his song as well. And yeah, as Ash says, one to go. Next Sunday will be a party. Hopefully, I can't wait for that. I'm kind of hoping Arsenal win during the week. Obviously, we won the league last time from Chelsea beating Man City, wasn't it? So, yeah, hopefully we do it in our own hands at Anfield in front of a full crowd, which we didn't get to do last time. But yeah, kind of on that performance, it wasn't anything flash, it wasn't anything pretty, but we got over the line, got the 3 points. And yeah, one more win away from winning the Premier League title in front of fans. I know me and Nina were speaking about this last week. You know, this is the stuff that we've been dreaming of, and obviously there's been some people I think feeling a bit underwhelmed by the end of the season, but I mean, we've built up this lead and we deserve real credit for that. And yeah, Ash said that's the happiest he's looked all season. Maybe the talks with the club have taken a turn, who knows. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That celebration was a huge kind of outburst of emotion. Look, do I think Trent's going to stay? I don't think so. I'm not sure where his hopes come from. And, you know, I don't know whether you saw his interview after the game. He kind of swerved the question. Obviously, I know he's not going to come out and say he's staying or he's going either way. He's always going to swerve that question. Yeah, I'm still leaning towards the idea that he is gonna leave, unfortunately. But you know, that is the moment that he's produced for us so often while he's been at the club. And yeah, it's another one that we'll look back on very fondly. You know, moving us within one win of the Premier League title on his return from injury. Obviously, went off injured against PSG, and we saw how distraught he was from that. And, you know, he's come under a lot of criticism and a lot of questions, and, you know, rightfully so. When you make a decision like that, you're going to come under scrutiny, and he will know that. But yeah, it was nice to see that kind of reaction from him. But yeah, I'm intrigued to hear people's thoughts on the performance today. Obviously, like I said, it wasn't anything flash or pretty. It's kind of that stage of the season. But we always look like scoring, really. I mean, I'll have a quick look at the stats, but at one point I think we had 28 shots, 10 on target. Leicester's keeper actually put in a really, really good performance as well. Until he took out his own man on the goal. With the defender kind of lying there watching the play to make sure what was happening before holding his head. Yeah, Leicester can't have any complaints about that, I don't think. But yeah, one more win. As I mentioned, we could win it earlier than next weekend, I'm pretty sure, if Crystal Palace take points off Arsenal during the week, which will be interesting. Crystal Palace are a bit hot and cold, but Arsenal do seem to struggle against them a little bit. I mean, I have a few memories over the years. We always do this where we think a team's a bogey team and you look and they haven't really took that many points off them. But I have a few memories of Crystal Palace taking points off Arsenal in the past. So yeah, maybe they will again, and maybe we'll be partying on Wednesday. But I'm kind of hoping that's not the case. So yeah, we're 13 points clear with 5 games left. So yeah, I think if they draw, I think we'll be assumed winners on goal difference because our goal difference is that much better. But yeah, if Arsenal lose, we will be champions on Wednesday, which is baffling to say. Not many expected this at the start of the season. And the job Arne Slot's done since coming in has been incredible. But but yeah, obviously, as I said, that relegates Leicester as well. They become the second team to go down this season, and that's been a long time coming. 18 points adrift. And yeah, I don't know what to make of Leicester. The whole decision to sack Steve Cooper, I feel like he was always kind of doomed in that role. Um, but he would have definitely accrued more points than what they have on the Van Nistelrooy. And I mean, their home form and the lack of goals. That Leicester squad should be doing a lot better, in my opinion. I know you can say Vardy's not the player he was, but you know, Brennan Notte came off the bench today and looked bright. Mavadidi looked bright as well. They've got more than enough quality to at least put on more of a fight than what they have. It's been pretty embarrassing for them. I mean, their goal differences down there with Southampton. I mean, they've only scored 3 goals more than Southampton. And when you look at the quality they've got on their team, and I mean, to be fair, they had a few moments today. I don't think Alisson actually made a save though, which kind of sums up their season. But yeah, 1 win away. Yeah, that's kind of all the kind of to take away from that. I think this was a plan. You know, nobody was expecting. Well, maybe you were. Maybe you're expecting Liverpool to come today and blow Leicester away, and no one would have been surprised. But yeah, let's have a look. What it's me, Everest is regular on these shows. Though our form has dipped, I'm relieved to be able to finish the league off next week. Hopefully, 20 times is done. On the 21st we go and bin the United fans. Yeah, title 20 level with Man United. And you're right, the form has dipped. There's no denying that in performances, but the results have still been there. I think we've won 7 of our last 8. And if that is kind of the worst we get, then I think it kind of really shows how good we've been this season and the high standards that this team can get to. And we're hopefully going to strengthen that even more. So going into next season, I think you've got to have Liverpool up there amongst the favourites. It's going to be different. I don't think we'll win it by as much as what we have. But I think we're the favourites. We've got to be going into next season. And 21st, I mean, to get a 21st title and take over United would be something. That would be certainly something. And as Ash says, didn't see much from El Canoes today. Some people was hyping him up. He's not ready for a big club yet. I agree with that. He is the kind of spark for them. I do think everything seems to go through them. But he was poor today a couple of times. Like just ran the ball out, and I mean, I've seen like we've even been linked. I mean, it's not no one reliable has linked us to El Canoes, but I've seen kind of rumours of a £30 million bid, and he impressed me at the Anfield game. I was at the Anfield game, and he was quite good, especially in the first half. I think he played a big part in their goal. But yeah, today I didn't see much from him. But I think he'll get a move. I think he'll be in the Premier League next season. But yeah, I don't think he's ready for a big club, so to speak. But yeah, touching on United, there obviously we are about to go level on titles with Man United, and that is I was watching a video of Gary Neville. I think he was speaking back in 2019, talking about how Salah was going to leave and United will win the league again before Liverpool. And here they are, 2025, 38 points from 33 games. It's been an absolute disaster, hasn't it? And now United have come to the level of prioritising the Europa League. And I mean, there's a real possibility that Man United could finish 17th this season, which is mental. I don't care what kind of problems they have in the boardroom or the squad might not be the end product, but I mean, they're 2 points ahead of West Ham in 17th now. Only scored 38 goals. There's only, if I take a look there, they've scored one. That there's only the 3 teams in the relegation zone, and Everton, of course, who've scored less than them, which is just it's crazy to think about. And obviously they got beat off Wolves today, which moves Wolves level on points with them. Wolves have done the double over them this season. Obviously Sarabia getting the winner in that one. So yeah, I'm not sure what Man United's fixtures look like. Let's have a quick look. Bournemouth away next Sunday, obviously, which will hopefully be our title-winning days. We play Spurs at 4:30. That's at 2:00. Then they have Brentford away, West Ham at home, Chelsea away, and Aston Villa at home. That's a hard run of fixtures as well for United. And if they are prioritising the Europa League, then I struggle to see them putting up many points. It's me, Everest, says, if Newcastle brings in some class players in next season and maybe a 4-horse race, we must do proper transfers in the window, otherwise we may regret it later. I completely agree with that. I was talking about this yesterday. Newcastle, like, you look at the squad depth isn't there at all, and they're still capable of putting these runs together where they look right up there. I mean, they're only 7 points behind Arsenal, and at Christmas, me and Nina always there was a lot of Newcastle fans wanting Eddie Howe out around Christmas time. The first half of the season they weren't great, and since then they've won a cup and they've looked pretty nailed on, in my opinion, to get top five and play in the Champions League. So yeah, 100%. And if they get the Champions League, they're going to keep the likes of Isak and Tonali and Bruno probably. So if they can add to that squad, they could be a real force next season. I think they're a real force now. We've seen it. We've seen it firsthand. You know, the away game at St James's was tough. And the cup final. I mean, I think a lot of us have just got to the point of kind of forgetting about that. So sorry to bring that up, but yeah, Newcastle look good. Obviously, they're on the bit of a bad defeat yesterday, weren't they? 4-1 to Aston Villa. But that was the end of that. I mean, looking back there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 wins on the bounce in the league. Obviously, beat Crystal Palace 5-0 during the week. Smashed United 4-1 the weekend before. So yeah, they are going to be a real force. And Aston Villa will be interesting to see what they do in the summer as well. Obviously, off the bat of a huge win, puts them right amongst the Champions League spots again. Obviously, a good European campaign this season. But yeah, they wiped the floor with Newcastle, which you don't see very often, but that is what Villa's capable of. And we'll quickly touch on the rest of today's results. Obviously, Arsenal won 4-0 over Ipswich. There was some kind of hope that Liverpool could win it today, but I don't think anyone really expected Ipswich to take 3 points away from Arsenal with the way Arsenal's been playing at the minute. And you know, some people were expecting a bit of a rested squad. I certainly was. I wasn't expecting the likes of Saka to play, to be honest. But yeah, they went pretty much full strength and wiped the floor with Ipswich. And I'd like to get some people's thoughts. I don't know whether people in the chat watch this one. The Ipswich game, the Leif Davies red card. It's such a stupid tackle. I've seen people saying it's not a red. I think it's a red all day, to be fair. The thing that made me giggle was the VAR saying that was the pace of the tackle, the aggression of the tackle. But then obviously we saw James Tarkowski do all those things times 10 on McAllister and nothing was done about it. But that's just the inconsistency of VAR. But we'll not get into that. Me and Nina try and avoid referee talks as much as possible. And Ash says here, just on Newcastle again quickly, if Newcastle get 2 progressive centre-backs who can help push them up the pitch and a right winger and keep their team together, they're scary. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Shaw's, I know he scored yesterday, I think Fabian Shaw, you're starting to see his legs go a little bit. Obviously, Botman's had a lot of problems with injury and Dan Burns had a good season. But yeah, he's not someone who's going to push into that next level. And yeah, right wing has been something that I thought they would have done quite a while ago, to be fair. I mean, Jay Murphy's had a brilliant season. I saw a stat yesterday. He's got more goal contributions in the league than Vinicius Jr. this season. But yeah, I didn't definitely improve on that. And Gordon seems to have gone off the boil a little bit, and maybe he's not really getting his place since that sending off against Brighton in the FA Cup. Really is when I'd kind of pinpoint the turning season for him. Obviously, Liverpool heavily linked with a move for Gordon last season, and them links are probably going to start again this summer. But to be completely honest, I struggle to see the need for Gordon. I think Diaz is better than Anthony Gordon. I think if we're going to get a left winger in, I think we can do better. But I'd like to see who you would want in that left wing position, because to me, for the sake of swapping Diaz for Gordon, other than the fact that Diaz is obviously running out of on his contract, he's only got 2 years left, I think. I don't see the need to really swap them two, but yeah, it's me Everest on Newcastle again. They may also sell off Callum and bring Owen back up to, I'm guessing that's Callum Wilson, bring him back up to Isak for minor games. They'll try to keep him as fit as much as possible for Champions League games. I think Jonathan David would be a brilliant signing for Newcastle, kind of that alternating role with Isak, and maybe if you want to go to a top, could push them alongside each other. I think that would be a good signing on a free. I'm sure Callum Wilson will go. That's a great shout. They need a new striker. Ash suggests Delap would be a good one for Newcastle. I think he'll go to Chelsea. I don't know why I have that feeling. I just think he'll end up at Chelsea. I think he fits kind of the way they play a bit, and I think he'll start every game for them, to be honest. Ash suggests Cherky for Newcastle. That would be an interesting one, definitely. I think Bakayoko has been linked quite a bit as well. Obviously, we were linked with him last summer from PSV. That could be an interesting one. But yeah, I definitely think those are the positions that Newcastle look to strengthen. Um, but yeah, quickly going back to today's Chelsea won. Chelsea beat Fulham. That's another big result for the race for the Champions League spots. That pushes them up to 5th, which obviously now does get you Champions League football and pushes Nottingham Forest down to 6th. Having a bit of a wobble at the minute, aren't they? Nottingham Forest. Obviously, they play Spurs tomorrow. Back-to-back defeats to Villa and Everton. It would be a shame for Forest not to get Champions League football, and if they finish 6th after the way they played for most of the season, that would be disappointing. But I don't think Chelsea will get in, to be honest. I know they're in there now. It wouldn't surprise me if Forest beat Spurs tomorrow and go back above them, and that would push them back up to 3rd. Yeah, I'm not sold on Chelsea. I'm not sold on Maresca either. I don't know whether anyone's seen the video of the Chelsea fans. I'll not repeat the words they were shouting at Maresca at halftime, but if you just Google Chelsea fans Maresca, that was at halftime. Obviously, they were 1-0 down to Fulham. Iwobi scored for Fulham, and then Tyreek George, a youngster, came on and equalised, and then they scored, I think it was 90, I don't want to get it wrong, 96th minute, I think it was. Pedro Neto, 93rd minute, yeah, to push them back up into the top 5. I think Maresca's future depends quite a bit on where they finish, whether they get Champions League football. I think if they don't, I think he could be under a bit of pressure. But yeah, looking quickly at the Saturday games to kind of round this off. Brentford-Brighton is always going to be a good game. And Brian Mbeumo, 18 league goals this season. You wonder whether any of these clubs, Newcastle maybe, as a right winger, go for Mbeumo maybe. That wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, Liverpool have been linked with him. 18 league goals with 5 games left is sensational for someone at Brentford. Obviously, that was 4-2 Brentford. Obviously, taking the lead through Mbeumo, Welbeck equalised, Mbeumo and Vissa putting them 3-1 up. João Pedro getting sent off. Obviously, he's kind of been ruled out of the race to join Liverpool this summer by a few reliable journalists, and that doesn't really surprise me. There's no doubt Liverpool like him, but yeah, I don't see João Pedro being at Liverpool next season. It's me, Everest, just on Chelsea. Maresca might get sacked after the season, even if they make it to top 5 or top 7. Chelsea may bring in someone more renowned next season and chuck him another billion. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise, would it? It's going to be interesting what Chelsea do. Obviously, there's interest from Saudi Arabia for Caicedo. I actually revealed the story this week on EPL Index, our partner, the Premier League, said that they have offered 200 grand a week to Caicedo to stay. Well, not to stay another season. He's tied down until 2031, but to kind of keep him away and put off that interest from Saudi. But you've got to think, how long is Cole Palmer going to stick around for? Playing for a team that's not really going anywhere. And I have a stat here on Cole Palmer, actually. He's scoreless in 1,292 straight minutes. And I'm sure a lot of people remember at the start of the season when he was, Jamie Carragher. I mean, not that Jamie Carragher is kind of gospel, but Jamie Carragher had him as ahead of Salah player of the season at one point, which was mental at the time, but even more so. But yeah, Chelsea, I don't really get the identity. I don't get the whole project. But the club's a mess with the way they spend money. It's never going to work. But yeah, just on Chelsea as well. I don't know whether anyone saw Fulham's goal. What Reece James is doing there. You won't see anyone call him out for it because his name's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing there. Just continuing on the Saturday games, Crystal Palace Bournemouth 0-0. That pretty much rules out Bournemouth's chances of finishing in the Champions League or the Europa League. I think they can still get Conference League, but even then, that's going to be a job that he had 8 points off Conference League. So that's Bournemouth and Fulham pretty much out of the race for European football, which is a shame because at one point, Bournemouth looked nailed on to get European football, didn't they? But yeah, they've had a really poor run of form. Obviously, Everton got beat off Man City 2-0. That's a big win for Man City as well. Obviously, it's mad that we're even talking about Man City as a potential candidate to not make Champions League football next season. But that win does put them up to fourth, 1 point behind Newcastle, 1 point ahead of Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. But obviously, if Nottingham Forest win, they'll go above all them teams. Obviously, it was 2 late goals to beat Everton. It looked nailed on to be 0-0 from what I saw. But then Nico O'Reilly scored, the youngster, again. He looks a decent player, to be fair. And Mateo Kovacic, the Rodri regen replacement, who suddenly started tucking his shirt in to look like Rodri, trying to channel his inner Rodri. And then the last game was West Ham 1, Southampton 1. Obviously, West Ham 1-0 up right up until more or less the last kick of the game, and Southampton equalise, which does avoid them from getting that points tally stat of being the worst team in Premier League history. They're now on 11. That makes them joint with Derby County all those years ago, which I wasn't really old enough to see. For anyone who did, I'm intrigued to know, is this Southampton team better than that Derby team, or they're even worse? Because in my lifetime, there's no question that this Southampton team is the worst we've seen. And funny enough, I mean, we haven't really seen it firsthand for Liverpool. Obviously, they gave us a bit of a game at their place, and they were 1-0 up at half time at Anfield a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, the woeful, aren't they? But yeah, I guess we can finish off the pod talking about Tottenham v Forest. It's at Tottenham, to be fair. I thought it was at Forest. I think Forest will get at least a point out of that, which will put them back up into the Champions League places. Tottenham, I don't think will be worried too much about this one. Down in 16th, just 1 point ahead of West Ham. Obviously, they're prioritising Europa League. Got a favourable draw as well. Bodo Glimt in the semi-final, who have been doing well this season, but you'd still fancy Tottenham to come out victorious in that one. So yeah, that's kind of all the Premier League action this weekend. So any final thoughts, you can stick in the comments quickly before we end the live. But yeah, it's a good weekend. Liverpool 1 win away from the Premier League title. Spurs at home at Anfield next weekend. Kind of hoping that Arsenal beat Crystal Palace during the week, so we can really have a party at Anfield. That would be amazing. And me and Nina will be back after that one, hopefully celebrating the Premier League title, which would be brilliant. And I'm kind of glad for Nina that we didn't win it today, because obviously with Nina's on a plane right now, so she didn't even watch the game. Couldn't watch the game. So if we had won it, she wouldn't have seen the celebrations. And yeah, I wouldn't wish that upon me worst enemy, to miss that sort of thing. So yeah, that's it for the roundup of the Premier League kind of news and the games this weekend. You can keep an eye out on Anfield Index for all your content heading up to next Sunday. It's going to be a fun week to be a Liverpool fan, and also on EPL Index for all the Premier League news about all these clubs. Obviously, we've had a few exclusive stories that happen to be all Chelsea stories this week. So if you haven't, go and check that out. You can find that on my Twitter as well, Ben Pescod Journal. Loads of stories on there every day. Anything you want is on EPL Index or Anfield Index, whether it be podcasts or articles or your latest news. So definitely make sure to check it out. And yeah, kick back for a few days and then get ready for a big party next weekend, hopefully. And yeah, me and Nina will see you then, and hopefully we'll be partying. So yeah, we'll catch you then. Have a good one.